Then they closed the regular season by beating Clemson. Then they beat Notre Dame. And is this an elimination game? Who knows? But obviously the stakes are incredibly high here this afternoon. Roger Ayers, Bert Smith, Tony Henderson are the officials. And Pitt wins the tip. Jalen Lowe at the point, a freshman and a good one from Missouri City, Texas. And this is Bub Carrington, who almost turned it over. You talk about two quality freshman guards. Pitt has him as Federico lays it in for the first bucket of the game.
Well, they brought a double team right to Blake Hinson. You'll probably see quite a bit of that because Hinson needs to have somebody on him all the time. When he catches it, he can shoot it from deep, and he makes a ton of them. And this is where Wake Forest could have an advantage.
Efton Reed the third, a bigger body than Federico. Hildreth in the corner. Now Boopy Miller pulls up from 12, can't hit it. Reed had it, but Carrington now comes down with it for Pitt.
Pittsburgh has some excellent guard rebounders. Ishmael Leggett and Bub Carrington combined average close to 11 rebounds a game.
Zach Austin turns it over. Great anticipation there by Miller. Hunter Salas, first team all ACC. And down with the rebound is Zach Austin, transfer from High Point. They split regular season games, Pitt winning earlier in the season, and then in the rematch, Wake blew them out, beat them by 33.
Cam Hildreth is guarding Hinson. They tried to switch there, and Hinson took advantage of it, but good coverage in there by Andrew Carr. Both Carr and Efton Reed need to stay out of foul trouble in this game. They need to be on the floor for Wake Forest.
Carr had a great game against Notre Dame yesterday. Double-double, blocks, steals, assists, you name it. He did everything for them. He's trying to post on Carrington. Hildreth scored all 10 of his points in the second half of yesterday's game, and you think he's a big key here this afternoon.
A huge key. His defense on Blake Hinson is going to be really important.
Austin wide open, but missed the three, and both teams cold out of the gate. Whoa. Salas goes right through Carrington, missed the shot. Reed has it, but it'll be Pitt ball.
Boy, incidental contact is hurting some people in this thing. Doesn't look incidental. You can see the double team now coming right at Blake Hinson. He just back dribbles and got it right underneath to Federico, who did a good job of holding off his defender on the offside.
Boy, Hinson is tough. 106 made threes this year. That leads the ACC. It's also a Pitt program record. But he's awfully good at going down to the post and posting up a smaller defender as well.
He's big and strong, so if he gets that matchup, he can do that. But he shoots 42% from three as a high volume shooter. And he's in range right now. Look, he wants the side cleared so he can go one-on-one, back down.
With Salas, now Reed over to help. Shot clock at 7. Tipped away, and Hildreth has it for Wake. And that's going to go to get them on the board and tie the game at 2.
Boy, what a finish by Cam Hildreth. He got fouled. It just wasn't called.
Hinson putting it on the deck this time, muscling his way in.
Boy, right now this is like a pickup game on the playground. No blood, no foul.
Hinson is 6'7", 235, and again he can beat you inside and outside.
The horn set. Now a back pick. Instead of the back pick, he's coming off it. So Salas is going to be a big focus of this Pitt defense because he can really score.
Transfer from Gonzaga, who has had just a marvelous season, but he and Carr miscommunicate there.
Cam Hildreth was able to knock that ball essentially to himself and takes it for that left-handed layup. And that's a foul in any sport. But Hinson was going for that back down, just went right into the chest of Andrew Carr, knocked him back to create that space.
By the way, Jay, Wake 16-1 at home this year, and undefeated wearing the gold uniforms. This is the first time that Steve Forbes' team has worn gold on the road, maybe trying to bring a little Joel magic to a neutral court setting here in Washington. I cannot reveal my source.
I was going to say that is digging deep on the research. Nerd alert.
There you go. Ishmael Leggett is in, 6th man of the year in the ACC, number 5 in white. The kick to Jalen Lowe, and the lefty just a little bit too strong. Hinson the offensive board. Taken away by Salas. Ahead to Miller.
Right now, Wake Forest going to the basket is playing through a lot of contact. And first it was Hildreth, then Miller, getting those both to go on opposite sides of the bucket.
There are great guard matchups in this game.
Yeah, this is going to be fun.
Yeah. Leggett rises up into a 3 and puts Pitt back on top.
Ishmael Leggett, who started his career at Rhode Island, his last 5, he was just 2 of 12 from 3, but still averaged 10 points per game. Now that gets him off to a nice start in this game.
A starter at the beginning of the year, a switch in the lineup. Jalen Lowe went in mid-season once he recovered from a nerve issue in his knee at the beginning of the year, and it's really seemed to help him and the team as a whole. Efton Reed, the third, knocks down a 3 to tie the game. 7 for 27, so now 8 for 28 on the season, shooting the 3. Another Gonzaga transfer, just like Salas.
Good pass.
Federico finds Hinson, and now both teams are heating up.
Now Federico is going to roll to the basket. Now you can't help off Blake Hinson on that. That's given up a 2. You help off Hinson, that's given up a 3. And he makes them like layups.
Again, the clear out. Reed on Federico. And Reed scoops it up with the reverse to get him back within 1. What a good start for the big guy.
He pivoted around. There was a ton of contact with Federico, and then just used that step through move to get to the other side of the rim.
Lowe has it knocked away by Miller, recovered by Leggett. And Hildreth down with the board for Wake.
One thing when you play Pittsburgh, you've got to be alert for long rebounds. So guard rebounds are going to be imperative.
Ball's loose, and which way will it go? It's going to belong to Pitt. Out right now. Pitt started the year 1-5 in ACC play. They wound up 12-8. They're the 4 seed to double bye. 3-5 in quad 1. A couple of good road wins. 7 road wins overall for Jeff Capel's team. That's impressive. The bad loss was a home loss to Missouri. And again, nobody knows exactly whether they're in, they're out. These two teams obviously today is going to have an impact on that. I think what you and I can both agree on is that both of these teams, they have a pretty high ceiling. When these teams play well, they are extremely good.
They're both NCAA tournament worthy teams.
Hildreth back into Carr. Hinson got knocked down. Hildreth is open and buries a 3.
That's great inside-outside interaction. Andrew Carr didn't have it immediately, kicked it out to Hildreth, and then back inside to Carr where he could repost. And when he drew that double team, kicked it right back out, and Hildreth was ready to shoot it.
Leggett says, why not? Just pulls up and buries it. It's a long 2.
Well, he had that right-hand drive just after the timeout, and now knocking down that shot. He was a scorer at Rhode Island, averaged 16 a game and led him in scoring and steals.
Matthew Marsh into the game for Wake for Efton Reed, and Guillermo Diaz-Graham, who just came down with a rebound, is in the game in the middle now for Pitt.
Good block out.
He can shoot this. Pitt by 5. The 7-foot sophomore from the Canary Islands. He's not the strongest guy in the world, but he's got some touch.
That's his 29th made 3 on the season. Shoots just under 40%. And you were right, he can shoot it, but he can also make it.
Hildreth off to Boopy Miller. Tough turnaround, but this is a guy who can make tough shots. Not this time. And Pitt with the ball in a 5-point lead.
Yeah, it's good to be able to make tough shots. I just don't think you want to seek them out like that.
He knew he missed this one, ran after it, but can't keep it in bounds.
Well, I really enjoy watching Ishmael Leggett play. He averaged close to 19 points a game in the 2 games against Wake Forest. Went 7 of 11 from 3 in those 2 games. So no matter what color uniform Wake Forest is wearing, he likes to play against them.
I love this matchup of Salas and Carrington. Carrington is he's a special talent as a freshman, and Salas, again, coming over from Gonzaga, former McDonald's All-American, first team All-ACC this year. He gets tied up. The arrow will keep it with Wake.
How about that defense? Now look, there's nothing in the rule book that says you have to let go of the ball, and Carrington won't let go of it. But that was great defense to stay in front and then knock it away. That was a big-time play by Bub Carrington.
These two teams are playing this game like it means everything to them, and it very well may for their postseason hopes. A 5-point lead early for Pitt, getting after it at the defensive end. Panthers up by 5. Do both of these teams need this win today to have a chance to get in?
Yeah, and the fact that quads can change week to week, just it's even more discussion about why can't you put a value on the game at the time it's played. If we can do all this stuff with analytics, we should be able to tell what is this game worth at the time it's played.
Right. And it's changing almost hour by hour now. And again, not all quad wins are created the same, right? You're a number 1 team versus a number 30 team on your home court. Those are both quad 1 wins. And obviously the net is just one of many things that the committee will look at. But I think it goes without saying that both of these teams have a very clear understanding of the significance of this game.
No question. And this is the time of year we face this with certain teams every year. This is when you get to say must win. You know, sometimes you'll hear it in February. Those aren't must win. This is must win time.
Inbounded to Parker Fredrickson, who did some really good things against the Irish. He knew the shot clock was running down. The desperation, it comes up empty. He had 7 points and 3 very important steals at critical times for the Deacs yesterday.
He's so active. He's such a smart player. But Pitt's defense has been really good the last several possessions.
Leggett the miss, Reed the rebound. Carr back into the game for Wake.
Leggett had to pick him up in transition. They need to look inside to him.
They want to go inside to Reed again. Big strength advantage on Diaz-Graham. He finds Carr. Whoa, and a little too much shoulder. A lot too much shoulder. Upon further review.
Too much shoulder, not enough chest. Yeah.
Federico the handoff. Hinson, that's a tough one. Around and out on the long 2 and another rebound for Reed.
Well, he can make that, but give credit to Hildreth. That was an excellent defensive stand he just took to force that tough 2.
Carr, good outside shooter. More of a face-up big. Big physical battle right now with Hinson. Carr somehow keeps that right foot down. A little bounce pass, gets it back, and it goes.
All right, those guys never left the lane. Both Carr and Reed never left the lane.
Wake back within 3. We talked about it yesterday, how different Reed and Carr are and how their skills as bigs complement one another nicely. Carrington. Leggett. Now Lowe. Hildreth switches on to him. Lowe pushes off. They play on, and it bounces free. Lowe gets another opportunity. And now they'll get another one. And finally, the third try is good as Leggett lays it in.
Boy, there is a lot going on in this game.
Yeah.
A lot of whistles that haven't been blown. This is going to be a fist fight for the whole 40 minutes. Now into the horn set. Trying to get a wide pin for Fredrickson.
Back to Salas. Nice look. Carr. Blocked from behind by Hinson.
Boy, that was a fabulous pass.
Deep one. And it goes for Blake Hinson. And Steve Forbes just got teed up for arguing the no call on the last trip down the floor on what looked like a push-off by Lowe. As Blake Hinson, Jay, just hit about a 28-footer to force Forbes to feel compelled to call a timeout.
Terrific pass inside. And then the great block by Hinson. Got a little arm, but you're not going to get to him there. That is deep on deep by Blake Hinson.
Steve Forbes incensed at the lack of a call on the previous trip when he felt Lowe pushed off and called for a technical foul. So it's 2 shots for Bob Carrington. Misses the first.
Well, Steve Forbes was right in his judgment. That doesn't change the fact that he got the technical foul. But he was correct to note it.
Pitt now with its largest lead of the game up to 9. Game resumes at the point of interruption, so it is Wake ball. Zach Keller making his first appearance in the game today. Number 25 in gold. Miller, a lot of traffic in there. They're fortunate to get it back. Miller open for 3.
Good
and a
pass.
great look ahead to Hinson. Challenged hard at the rim by Hildreth, and he'll be going to the line.
Blake Hinson was expecting contact. And the defender Hildreth went flying as a result. Well, Hinson is strong.
Pitt coming in on a 3-game winning streak. This is their first appearance of the tournament. Again, Wake beat Notre Dame yesterday. Wake lost 3 of its last 4 in the regular season. And the one that kind of stands out is the home loss to Georgia Tech. That's the one where you said, boy, that's the one you got to get. Don't leave the door ajar at all. But they have put themselves in this position. Did bounce back with a nice win over Clemson. Played well yesterday, but now find themselves down 11 to Pitt in the early going here in this one.
You wonder sometimes what you would value in the committee room, because when you're talking about bubble teams, all of them have proven they can lose games. To me, the separating factor is who have you beaten and who can you beat.
And what's going on with other bubble teams matters as well. Villanova was on its way to losing to DePaul in the Big East tournament. And got a Justin Moore 3 late to salvage that game. Kansas State got a big win over Texas last night. All of it is part of this big, intricate jigsaw puzzle. We will step aside. Pitt up by 11, back in 30. A quick look back at what it was that incensed Steve Forbes, the lack of a call on Jalen Lowe there.
Yeah, there's no question that was an offensive foul. Just wasn't called, and Steve Forbes wanted to get his opinion in and did.
Read the kick. Frederickson, a good shooter. Comes up empty, and back comes Pitt, led by Carrington.
And Carlton Carrington is such a good player.
Got good size, too. 6'4" at the point.
And a heck of a guard rebounder.
Diaz-Graham dribbling into some trouble, finds Leggett. Leggett bothered by Frederickson, kicks it out.
Hildreth should have had that ball.
Yep. Well, now they've got it. Miller. Hildreth. Up and good, and a foul to boot.
Boy, what a pass by Boopy Miller to the sprinting Hildreth on the right side.
So a turnover leads to a run out, a bucket, and a foul as Wake tries to get back into this one. Midway through the first half, it's now a 9-point game. What a great season for Blake Hinson of the Pitt Panthers, first team all-conference, and looking like it, Jay, so far today.
He leads Pittsburgh in scoring and obviously 3-point field goals made. First team all-ACC. And he is a tough cover because of his shooting range, his shooting accuracy, and then his strength as well. He can take you down in the post, back you down, get to the free throw line. He's just had a spectacular season for Jeff Capel and Pitt.
Jess Sims has more.
Dan, on Saturday after Pitt's last home game, Blake Hinson actually stayed on the court taking photos and talking to fans well after the arena emptied. And when asked why he did that, he said, listen, just 2 years ago when I was dropping groceries off at people's front doors, no one was asking me for my autograph. So I feel like I need to take advantage of that kind of stuff because you never know when it might end.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jess. I mean, I'm going to start asking the DoorDash guys for their autograph just to make sure they understand how grateful I am.
Hinson played a couple of years at Ole Miss, transferred to Iowa State, did not play there, now at Pitt, and again just having a phenomenal season. He and Hunter Salas, two of the very best players in the ACC this year. R.J. Davis of Carolina, the player of the year. Hildreth over the top to Reed.
Beautiful. Reed sets the little middle ball screen. Nobody picks him up. And Hildreth lofted it up beautifully. Boy, the middle of the floor is such a hard place to guard that action. You run it on the side, you've got a chance. You run it in the middle, it's so hard to help.
Corner three not there for Zach Austin. Reed yet another rebound. He is clearing space and cleaning the glass at the defensive end.
Boy, Wake had an opportunity to really get out in transition, just mishandled the ball on the outlet pass. As Federico had gone down, that gave him a numbers advantage.
Hildreth off to Salas. Under 10 to shoot.
A great job by Leggett.
And a turnover.
Now watch Upton Reed right in the middle of the floor. Sets the screen, opens up, and look at the distance that Ishmael Leggett would have to cover to tag him and get there, because there was a three-point shooter spotting up on the other side of the floor. It's really well executed by Wake Forest.
Low the kick. Leggett the extra pass. Bob Carrington the turnaround.
Wow. Boy, that little shot fake just opened up the middle and allowed Carrington to get past Carr. That's a big time pivot and turnaround jumper.
He's got a lot of game, averaging 20 per his last 4. And a takeaway. Leggett caused it.
And Lowe is such a good ball handler. Got 2 point guards on the floor essentially.
Swatted away. Still Pitt ball.
Getting into the paint, and that is a tough shot. Usually you'd want to shoot that turnaround jumper over your right shoulder to go over your left, and then still square up and shoot it with that kind of touch is really difficult.
A steal by Boopy Miller, and lays it into the other end to get him back within 7. The transfer from Central Michigan has had a really good year for Wake.
Those are the kind of turnovers that crush you. Tom Izzo of Michigan State calls those turnovers for touchdowns. You cannot guard a run out.
Leggett. Air ball on the 3. Wake ball.
I don't think you want to shoot that shot. I mean, look how he had to go to catch the pass. It wasn't like it hit him in the shooting pocket.
Reed swings it. Extra pass to Carr. Had a really good look. Couldn't knock it down. And it's Pitt ball, much to the dismay of Upton Reed. And Steve Forbes.
That was great ball movement by Wake Forest. Now here's where you just have to give a little pass fake. You're making that little, usually call it guard to guard, but it's big guy to guard pass. Give a shot or give a pass fake. Let Miller shoot the gap, and that looked like it went off Federico to me.
Hinson driving on Miller. Swings it. Carrington baseline. Tough turnaround fadeaway. If you're Wake, you could live with a shot that difficult. Marsh in for Reed up front for the Deacs right now. Miller lost it. Boy, and Pitt being really disruptive defensively, and they've come up with it.
Active hands and great help
And a wide open Carrington.
Well, this game's going to track me.
Yep. Whoa. Hildreth with the spin, but it won't go. Both teams shooting just around 40% so far. They're getting up and down, but they're not putting the ball in the basket all that often. Leggett. Count it. 9-point lead for the Panthers.
Boy, he loves that spin. Right hand dribble, spins around, goes down the lane line. What a beautiful play.
Hunter Salas, Jay, averaging better than 18 a game, has yet to score in this one for Wake.
Well, Carrington's done a great job of sticking with him, not really helping off. But Carrington does a great job of staying in front as well. So does Leggett.
Hildreth fouled by Leggett.
Well, Ishmael Leggett, the ACC 6th man of the year. That spin move, he's good enough to start. For Wake Forest. Wake's got 8 points off those 6 turnovers, and they've got 8 fast break points. I got a pretty good idea those two things are connected.
That is Wake's second free throw attempt, first make, with Hildreth at the line, and Steve Forbes would be thrilled with his team being at the line a lot because they are one of the very best free throw shooting teams in the country, almost 80% as a team. Happens every time. Actually, it doesn't.
Yeah, not every time.
Not every
Statistically,
time.
that would be impossible.
1 of 2 for Hildreth.
Hildreth still on Blake Hinson, is trying to take him down to the low post.
Whoa. And they got Hildreth there. He kind of backed into Diaz-Graham.
Well, I think he was helped into Diaz-Graham. Yeah, look at him backing into him.
Yeah. Number 2 on Hildreth. Carrington, very tough runner. Tipped back out, though, in a fresh possession for Pitt. And Carrington buries a corner 3, and Pitt's lead is now 11.
Well, you never find yourself as wide open as you do after a broken play. And a really smart pass by Lowe to get it to Carrington in the corner.
Hildreth, boy, he did a nice job with his right arm and shoulder just to push off enough to create some space.
Yeah, just a strong drive. A little slot ball screen on the right. Got him to that left hand.
Wake's got to find a way to get Salas going at the offensive end. Diaz-Graham, his second 3 of the game.
Look how high that ball screen was set. I'm not sure they want to be up that high and just have a pick and pop that gives a wide open 3 to Guillermo Diaz-Graham.
That was his twin brother, Jorge Diaz-Graham, out after season-ending ankle surgery. Good hands again, this time by Leggett.
Leggett's got really active hands.
He's got 4 steals in this game already.
Terrific pass to Bub Carrington, and you don't get that much time to shoot in a horse game. And then Diaz-Graham off the really high screen and roll. And Wake Forest was really pressing up, so that pick and pop pretty easy for Pittsburgh.
Pitt 6 for 15 from 3. Wake just 2 for 9. They go into Reed. He can't hit, and Hinson down with a rebound.
Good job by Diaz-Graham. Reed got that low position down in the middle of the lane, but rather than foul, Diaz-Graham just made him shoot it over the top.
This is kind of announcer cliche 101, but boy, it feels like a big minute and a half right here for Wake. And it's getting even more dire as Lowe lays it in, and the lead grows to 14.
Got the switch, and Lowe going toward that left hand and took advantage of it.
Hildreth has to throw it all the way out up top to Salas.
Got the switch.
Hoists a 3, and boy, did they need that.
Wow.
Still an 11-point lead for the Panthers into the final minute of the first half.
They can take their time here and still get a 2 for 1.
Leggett baseline. Puts the brakes on, kicks it out. Carrington the floater, or a pass actually. And a foul. And a shooting foul. It'll be a couple of shots for Diaz-Graham after the foul on Carr.
It's really good job by Pittsburgh when the ball gets kicked back out, not just settling for the jumper. But look at Salas, gets the switch. And Blake Hinson just gave him a little bit too much room playing the drive, and he pulled up on him.
First bucket for Salas. And then Diaz-Graham now with 7 off the bench. You look at what Leggett and Diaz-Graham have done off the bench for Pitt in this game. That's been huge.
Well, he's got 7 double-figure scoring games on the year. And last year, Diaz-Graham only hit 7 threes on the season. This year, he's now got 30.
Splits a pair, and it's Wake ball down by a dozen.
The more Wake Forest spreads the floor, the better. Good switch out.
And a hold inside going on Diaz-Graham. But that's just the 3rd team foul committed by Pitt. He'll sit. Federico back in, and now Zach Austin coming back in for Bub Carrington.
Early in this game, I didn't think they should call fouls. They should throw yellow flags.
They close out in a hurry on Fredrickson, respecting his shooting ability. Now Carr. Still lots of time on the shot clock. Salas short. And more contact underneath, and another Pitt foul.
And Carr went flying down toward the basket stanchion. And that ball was short, so it was headed toward. That was going to be a run out for Pitt.
Which is 4 team fouls, so again no free throws. Wake to inbound with the shot clock turned off.
But Leggett has really been physical with Salas coming off screens on out of bounds underneath. He's not letting him have anything.
Miller up top, Reed. And what's the call?
That had to be a foul on Hinson.
Officials are going to talk about it. No, it's just going to be Wake ball with 5.3 to go. Speaking of football, Wake's winning the time of possession here at the end of the half, but they'd love to actually get a couple of points out of it. Still Wake ball down to 3.5. Well, they're getting work in on the out of bounds underneath, that's for sure. They're getting all kinds of practice just trying to get a clean look. But again, Pitt deflecting so many passes.
Boy, if Wake had the possession arrow, imagine how long this could be.
And they turn it over as the first half comes to a close. Pitt's defense, the big story. Pitt's bench scoring, the big story, as they lead by a dozen in this tremendously important game for both the Panthers and the Demon Deacons. Jess Sims has just hustled all the way to length.
I mean, he said, number one, we got to work on our defense. He said specifically on the pick and roll, driving off to the basket. They're killing us offensively with the rebounds. And offensively for us, we got to play with some confidence. We need to not turn it over or hold it, but rather drive it to the basket and, most importantly, finish.
Yeah, not a team that generally struggles offensively. Thank you, Jess. They average better than 78 points per game this year. They had 26 in the first half. Hinson, a step back 3. Wow.
Just lowered that right shoulder into Hildreth and knocked him back just a bit to create that space. That kind of strength and touch is a really rare combination.
What a battle down low between Carr and Hinson.
And Hinson got away with one there, but he's staying low guarding Carr.
Now Reed banging down low with Hinson. Hildreth a corner 3, and he got fouled.
He got hit up top by Austin. It looked like Austin's momentum took him into his body as well. But I thought the foul was on the arm first.
Either way, he's going to the line for 3 free throws. Hildreth, the high scorer in the game for Wake. He did not score in the first half yesterday against Notre Dame, had 10 points in the second half, had 10 in the first half here today. But again, they've got to find a way not only to get Salas, but also a way to get Boopie Miller going at the offensive end.
And a number of the fast break points that Wake Forest had in that first half were off of steals, and Pitt cleaned that up and really closed down the number of turnovers they were offering up.
All three for Hildreth. Back to Carrington. Taken away by Salas. He's got trailers. They don't get anything easy out of it. Can they get a good look in the half court?
Or just that mishandling of the ball by Salas took away a layup. That should have been a layup.
Reed with another size advantage, this time on Austin, but he traveled.
A good job by Austin to come over from the weak side and offer help. And Steve Forbes knows that should have been a layup. And they come away with 0 after that turnover.
These two bubble teams competing for a spot in the semifinals against the top seed North Carolina, which was so impressive in a win over Florida State earlier today. Another Pitt turnover.
Just mishandling of the ball 2 in a row. And give Pittsburgh credit on each of those turnovers. They got back and kept it from being an easy bucket.
Double team on Reed, doesn't matter.
He didn't walk that time. Just stepped through, got to the other side of the rim to shield off the block shot and got the foul. He draws a crowd, doesn't he? But Austin just gave him that lane to the basket. Just, you don't want to worry about the pass back out. You just have to stay between your man and the basket, and if he shoots it, make it a tough 2.
7 foot 240, a starter 2 years ago at LSU, played at Gonzaga last year behind Drew Timme, so didn't have nearly as big a role. And now this year, after getting granted that second waiver that happened in early December, moved into the starting lineup a little bit later and is a tremendously important part of the Wake team.
A little bit of life right now for Wake Forest. Crowd trying to get him into it. Now here's the switch. Hildreth going on to Carrington. That puts Salas on Hinson.
Hinson driving him. Kicks it to Leggett, who had a big first half. And is fouled by Reed. Number 2 on Efton Reed.
Pittsburgh's done a really nice job of driving closeouts. Anytime the ball's reversed or it's kicked back out, they are given a little shot fake and a hard drive.
Lowe swings it to Leggett. Misses the 3, and Salas down with a rebound. Salas looked like he stepped on the foot of Carrington, stumbled, but appears to be okay. And again, Reed going to work. Here comes the double. He didn't see it. He didn't know it was coming. And Wake is fortunate to maintain possession.
Great job defensively by Ishmael Leggett. He just didn't come over to give help. He came over to steal the ball. Watch him go around. Efton Reed looking toward the middle, thinking the double team, if it comes, is going to come big to big. And he just stealthily comes in from the baseline side.
How often today have you thought or said, boy, that's a really clean look for Wake? There is nothing easy at the offensive end for them today.
Especially those first 2 turnovers that Pittsburgh coughed up. You know, the first one should have been a layup, and Salas mishandled the ball, but give Pittsburgh credit. I mean, they turned it into 5-on-5 in a hurry.
Jalen Lowe the foul.
Jalen Lowe saying, I didn't touch him. He grabbed my arm as he was trying to go by. Boy, good help by Lowe.
Salas into the paint and got fouled from behind by Hinson.
Wake Forest continuing to attack the paint. When that initial surge was stopped by Lowe, Salas just looked like he was going to back down and then got into the middle of the lane.
And my mistake, they give it to Federico, not to Hinson from behind. So Salas at the free throw line. And
are you calling him by his first or his last name there?
It depends on my mood. A guy so nice they named him twice. Federico. We talked about this with Carolina, and I think you can feel it with Pitt too. Everybody knows their role on this team. They do what they do well over and over and over again.
I think Jeff Capel really likes the chemistry of this team, especially right now. It's developed over the course of the season. And a team that's really learned how to fight together.
Leggett is having himself an afternoon.
Oh, he's a player. Leads Pitt in rebounding, second in assists, second in offensive rebounds. He just does everything for Jeff Capel and the Panthers.
Just feels like Wake needs a spark, you know, a run out for a dunk or something just to get them going. Pitt seems to be carrying the tone of this game, the intensity of this game. Maybe that'll help. Nice tough shot made by Cam Hildreth.
Boy, everything is tough in this game.
Yep.
Wake Forest fighting through it. That was a heck of a play by Hildreth.
He's got 15. Leggett got the switch. Takes the three and hits it.
Well, you're going to switch with Efton Reed. He's got to switch up into Leggett, not worry about him driving by. You give up a two, but he steps back and knocks down a three right in your grill.
And Steve Forbes calls a timeout.
When you switch, you have to switch up to take something away. And that was more like drop coverage by Efton Reed III. And that was a big three for Pittsburgh and Ishmael Leggett.
And Angel Gray. And again, a look at some bracketology as Joe Lunardi has both Wake and Pitt on the bubble. On the wrong side of the bubble right now. Wake first four out, Pitt next four out. One of the things working against Pitt is they did not have a very difficult non-conference schedule. Looked it up today, ranked 340th out of 362. So 12-8 in the league is great, but they didn't get as much done in the non-conference as Wake did. But it may all come down to who wins here today.
Yeah, to me, the non-conference schedule doesn't matter. If they say it's your total body of work, as long as your total body of work is what it should be, and you get enough games in conference, who cares what you did in non-conference?
And the great day continues for Ish Leggett.
He is just so tough. I mean, that was a tough drive and a big-time finish.
It was 12 at the half. Wake, I think, on two separate occasions, got it down to 8 with the ball early in the second half, but now it's back to 13.
And to this point in the game, Pittsburgh has 8 made threes in the game. Wake Forest just 3.
Carr into traffic and is fouled. And a timeout on the floor. Pitt maintaining right now this double-digit lead, and they are getting an absolutely great performance from the ACC's 6th man of the year, Ishmael Leggett, leading the way for the Panthers.
Call me Ishmael.
Well, it's not necessarily who starts, it's who comes in and plays really well. And Ishmael Leggett certainly is at the top of that list, Jeff.
He's got a lot of game. We mentioned he started at Rhode Island, where he averaged 16 points and 6 rebounds a game. One of the best guard rebounders in the league and really in the country. But point guard ability, he can score, and he has really been impactful on the defensive end.
Huge day for him. Nice day for Diaz Graham off the bench. Well, and even the free throws aren't going for Wake like they normally do. 80% as a team, 3rd in the nation, 6 for 10 so far today.
And Pittsburgh has been really stingy inside the lane. It's not like Wake Forest has been able to throw the ball inside to Efton Reed or Andrew Carr and really get anything.
Carrington finds Diaz Graham. He didn't even look at the basket. Kicks it out to Hinson. And it's out of bounds. Still Pitt ball.
Boy, there is a ton of contact on that. And that wasn't just all straight up and down. That was remarkable.
And Hinson certainly not a guy who is opposed to seeking out the contact on his way to the rim.
You're telling me that's not a foul? I mean, come on.
Cam Hildreth helping mop up the floor. There you go, Cam.
I'll tell you, that is versatility right there.
Yeah, that's a job well done.
That is versatility.
Ten on the shot clock. This is low. Got Carr on him. Hinson steps back and hits another one. When is this guy not in range?
What do you do? That's just big time offense. Blake Hinson is a baller, man.
And look at the look in his eyes. As we can see on defense, he's off on the weak side right now, but he is all kinds of locked in right now.
Good help by Guillermo Diaz-Graham out top, not allowing Salas to turn the corner.
Extra pass, but they can't get a clean look.
Oh, that was just terrific recovery defensively.
And Pitt is just winning the battles right now.
Yeah, they are winning the game on the defensive end. That's going to be a shot clock violation, not a tie-up. Boy, this is impressive. Pittsburgh's defensive effort. Watch how they recover when this ball goes out.
Wow. Textbook. Do kids even know what a textbook is anymore? They don't even have textbooks.
Yeah, they have textbooks. You think everything's on their iPad now?
I think so, it is. And a bucket for Carrington. The assist to Diaz-Graham. It is the largest lead of the game for Pitt.
Just a beautiful cut from the left elbow. And Diaz-Graham could see over the top. Not enough pressure to take away vision. Delivered the pass beautifully.
Where does Wake go for offense? Nothing coming easily. Hildreth gets a clean look for three. Can't hit it. And it belongs to the Panthers.
Good decision by Carrington not to launch that. Don't need it right now. Just need a good offensive possession after playing such great defense.
Diaz-Graham driving on Boopy Miller and draws the foul.
Now watch Bub Carrington. Just gives a little step and go and a back pick by Lowe. And he gets the easy bucket. And how do you guard this? I mean, Boopy Miller's given up a lot of size, but just a step back and drills it. Jason Capel, a great player from North Carolina, Jeff Capel's younger brother.
Great crossover by Lowe, and he is fouled.
Just gave a little up move and kept the dribble and then crossed to get to that left hand. Lowe is a great ball handler. Just fantastic.
And they seem to be getting Wake in unfavorable matchups for the Demon Deacons, and Lowe took advantage of that one right away.
You know, they spread them out really well. And a lot of that really high pick and roll action really spreads the defense. You got help from along.
Coming up at 5 p.m. it is ACC PM, and then tonight at 11:30 Eastern, the outstanding Nothing But Net crew will have a complete breakdown of today's second round ACC tournament games, all coming your way on ACC Network.
I'm starting to sense a pattern here. So that's an outstanding crew. We're just Reese and the guys. Unbelievable.
Well, you're not going to be the guys anymore. I see Andrea over there. It's Reese, Andrea, and the guys. Carr, look at the physicality from Hinson. Does not give an inch. Hildreth's three won't go. Reed has it knocked away.
Brought it down. Carrington took it away with two hands.
And a block called on Cameron Hildreth.
Pittsburgh's just quicker to the ball. And they've been stronger in just about every facet of the game. And this has been an incredibly physical game. And Pittsburgh has met the physical challenge.
Not only have they met it, it feels like they have sought it out. They have initiated the physical challenge.
Yeah, they've delivered the first punch.
Carrington off the handoff, short on the three, offensive rebound, Leggett. He's in range. Air ball. Wake beat Pitt by 33 at the end of January on their home court, granted, but just a totally different story on a neutral court here today.
Yeah, the Pitt defensive effort has been really impressive.
Reed banks it home, but they got a long way to go. Still down 17. Lowe got the switch, Carr on him, and that means Hinson's got a guard on him, and Fredrickson, but he lost the handle.
Good job by Fredrickson to just stay in front and be tough.
He can make some threes. They could use a couple, that's for sure. Salas on the drive, and he lays it in. Steve Forbes hoping that'll get Hunter Salas going at the offensive end. Now Reed on Lowe. Lowe driving him and is fouled by Efton Reed, and that'll be number 3 on the big man for the Demon Deacons. A huge game for a couple of bubble teams, and Pitt up 15 right now. Wait to get back into this one. Pitt came out, and as you said, they kind of threw a punch in the early going, and they've just kept on swinging, and they have been the more physical, determined team, it appears, so far in this game.
Yeah, Pitt's been fantastic. And Jalen Lowe stepping the line right now. He's got 5 assists, 0 turnovers in this game.
I'm impressed that Jeff Capel, like, he can get down there like a catcher's crouch, and he can just sit there for minutes at a time. My legs are sore just looking at him.
Maybe he can't get up. Jeff was a great player,
yep.
Man. Used to love watching him play.
17-point lead for the Panthers.
You know, when you showed that Big 12 bracket, what a steal. Stepped out of bounds. When you showed that bracket, you know, Kansas is an interesting case. You know, Kansas State beat Kansas earlier this year when they were at full strength.
Right.
So with Kansas scuffling toward the end of the year, does that change quad 1, all that stuff? That's an example of something. Hey, you got to put a value on the game when it's played.
Right. Playing without Dickinson and McCullough yesterday. McCullough in and out of the lineup the last several weeks. So we'll see what their seed will be. A tie up. It'll stay at this end of the floor.
Basketball is about rhythm. Establishing yours, disrupting theirs. And Pittsburgh has disrupted any rhythm that Wake Forest could establish in this game. I mean, there's still a long time to go in this game, but it has been all Pittsburgh.
Salas knocks down a 3. He is starting to heat up here in the second half.
The only openings he's had from 3 are when he's gotten a switch. He hit that one over Hinson in the first half and that one over Diaz-Graham. There's that same action that got the layup.
Lowe gets the switch again. Reed gets some help from Fredrickson. Lowe kicks it out. Shot clock at 3. Leggett the force. And an air ball gives it back to the Deacs.
Strong defensive stand by Wake Forest. After that 3 by Salas, that's the kind of stop you need. You get a score here, get some momentum going.
They can score in bunches when they're clicking. Carr. And Hinson just doesn't give an inch. Carr's 4 inches taller, but Hinson is one strong guy. Salas again. It goes. Back-to-back threes for Hunter Salas.
Oh, this is a big possession right now for Pittsburgh. If Wake can get a stop here, this game looks a lot different than it did a couple minutes ago.
Salas 9 of his 12 here in the second half. Diaz-Graham is open. He's made a couple of those today, but not this time. And here comes Wake in transition. Good job by Hinson. Fredrickson has to give it up. Finds Reed, and he is fouled.
Just on the screen, the roll. Boy, Salas with the switch off. Just Diaz-Graham was heading one way. He couldn't just stop on a dime and recover. And then Blake Hinson trying to recover to him. Steve Forbes asking for a foul when he was landing. Big time plays by Hunter Salas.
Hildreth driving baseline. Up and in, and a chance for three.
How tough was that? Boy, what a run by Wake Forest. We were just talking about how it was all Pittsburgh, and for the last 4 or 5 possessions, it's been all Wake Forest.
Hildreth back to the free throw line. 9-0 run, Wake.
Well, Pittsburgh has to get something going toward the basket. You know, they've settled for some jump shots. They weren't bad shots at all. But you got to put Wake Forest in a position to foul here. Get something to the rim.
Leggett gets the switch. Driving on Reed. And Reed called for the foul. They keep putting him in that spot, and that is number 4 on Efton Reed.
Just a smart play by Leggett. Put some pressure on the rim. And ultimately he wound up getting to the foul line. Or are they going to call that on the floor? It looked like it was going up, but it's on the floor.
So that is a loss for Wake, although they do bring Andrew Carr back into the game. And now with a read out, Federico's coming out, and Diaz-Graham, who just sat down, coming right back in. More perimeter big against perimeter big, really, at the 5 spot.
Got the switch now. Got Fredrickson on Diaz-Graham.
Good job by Carr to stay down. 5 to shoot. Leggett somehow kept possession, couldn't hit the layup.
Good challenge by Carr at the rim with both hands.
Miller baseline. Finds Salas.
Miller got away with a hook there, but saved the ball.
Carr down low, blocked by Hinson. Talk about help defense. And look at Lowe going coast to coast to lay it in. That's a big sequence for the Panthers.
And a huge block. Saving a basket by Blake Hinson and leading to a run out and a bucket. That's a 4-point turnaround on that block.
Yeah, it looked like it was just a fraction of a second away from being a 6-point game. Miller had to adjust and draws the foul.
Some defensive plays loom larger than others. And with Wake Forest making a comeback, just about to lay one in, Blake Hinson comes and saves a bucket, and then Jalen Lowe on the other end gets one. 4-point turnaround.
Now the big story coming into this one, both of these teams squarely on the bubble, perhaps playing with the feeling that their season rides on the outcome of this game. So not surprisingly, here at the ACC tournament quarterfinals, it has been a physical, intense affair. Wake has made a little push. They've gotten back within 10. They were down as many as 19 earlier in the half. Again, the latest bracketology from Joe Lunardi has Wake first 4 out, Pitt top team in the next 4 out, but Pitt leading on the scoreboard right now by 10 in this all-important game.
And Wake Forest can get it under 10 with these free throws from Boopie Miller. It's been a gutsy comeback just to get it to 10.
Quiet day so far for Miller, who averages better than 15. That's his 5th point of this one. He does have 4 steals in the game. Pitt is out rebounding Wake 26-18. They've made 4 more threes than the Demon Deacons have.
Wake Forest does not have a second chance point in this game. It's 8-0 in favor of Pittsburgh in that category. Hildreth back on Hinson.
And Reed still on the bench for Wake. He's got 4 fouls. Now Boopy Miller called for the foul. And that's going to be number 7 on the Demon Deacons.
Yeah, just a little elbow back screen to have him curl it. And Miller has to switch. He's wrapped his arms around Blake Hinson.
So we will see a fair number of free throws down the stretch. Wake, as we mentioned, they're great. 80%. Pitt just 70% as a team on the season. And Hinson, for all that he does well, just 66% from the line.
You got to back up to the three-point line and shoot him.
Yeah. Made them both.
That might have been the reverse announcement.
Yes, yeah. With great power, Jay, comes great responsibility, as you know. Salas, he's come to life here in the second half. Wow, that's as tough as it gets.
And really good defense by Bub Carrington. You know, he stayed in front and made him take it tough too. And Salas made it. That's just really good offense.
Hinson. And tapped away by Salas, but they've got a foul.
Yeah, Hinson just rolled him down to the right block and locked him down. But Carrington did a great job keeping his chest on him, staying in front. And Guillermo Diaz-Graham gave a little bit of help. That's just a superior offensive play in the lane by Hunter Salas.
His first foul. Hinson right back to the free throw line again for 1-and-1. This is the front end. Wake's got it. Again, with a chance to get as close as they have been in a long time if they can convert here. And they will.
Absolutely beautiful pocket pass from Hunter Salas off that slot pick and roll. That's just gorgeous and a great finish by Andrew Carr. A little handoff opened up. And then Diaz-Graham with the foul, but Carr was able to finish it. That's a big play.
And all of a sudden, maybe all of a sudden's not accurate, but it's a 5-point game. Pitt led by 19 earlier this half. Turned it over. Still loose. And Hinson called a timeout. Boy, Wake had it down on the floor, couldn't squeeze it. Carr appears to be shaken up for the Demon Deacons as he gets held up. And it's Pitt basketball after Hinson calls a timeout.
Just a simple mishandling of the ball. Pitt ran that elbow action, cut back door, and then Lowe was coming off for a handoff. Just couldn't complete it, bobbled it, and then how about Hinson? I mean, that was a smart play just to maintain possession at a time where Pittsburgh needs to stop the bleeding, get a score here, and create a little bit of separation after this just spectacular comeback by Wake Forest.
And the stakes are high. Whether it's a must-win or not, nobody knows, but it's certainly being contested like it's a must-win game.
I think it is a must-win. Must-win is fair once you get to tournament time. It's certainly a must-win for the ACC tournament championship.
Yes.
And I think if you're a process-oriented person, you're trying to win the championship, you have to win this game. Now the bubble, you know, we don't know how the committee's going to vote. But, you know, I trust Joe Lenardi and all the other bracketologists that this is essentially an elimination game for the loser. But, you know, there's a long way to go in this thing. And both teams are fighting, but a really impressive comeback by Wake Forest.
Still 6:38 to go. Wake has never led in this game.
If I'm Pittsburgh, I'm looking to get the ball into the hands of Ishmael Leggett and let him drive it. Get something going to the rim.
Fredrickson trying to stay with Lowe. Now Carr switches onto him. Carrington now with Carr. Carr having to switch out onto all kinds of different guards. Carrington, the pull-up, won't go.
In and out. But Wake made him take a jump shot.
Quick one from Salas, and he comes up way short on the three. Steve Forbes clapping his hands, trying to stay positive and encourage his team. Pitt with the ball back.
I think got to look to drive it here.
Leggett's thinking the same thing. Salas not making it easy. Leggett gets the shot off and hits.
What a tough move by Ishmael Leggett. But by driving it, you put Wake Forest in a position to foul. And even a common foul right now puts you on the free throw line.
Leggett now has 20, his season high 22 against Wake. Carr might have gotten away with a walk.
He did.
Hildreth, it's a three, and it's a 4-point game.
Well, we are seeing some gutsy plays, and Cam Hildreth has been spectacular in this game.
He's got
both
20
ends of the floor.
Leggett driving again. Count. Will they count it? No basket. But it is a foul on Hunter Salas.
And he'll go to the free throw line. But you get him to that right hand, getting downhill. You know, how are you going to stop him? Here's the play before, going one-on-one against Salas. He mishandled the ball, then just went straight into his arm. Could have easily been an and one. And then Carr, did he shuffle his feet? Doesn't matter. It's three at the end with the great ball movement by Wake Forest. And then here's the foul. Boy, what a terrific shot.
1-and-1 for Leggett, his first trip to the line today. And gets a friendly bounce. Outstanding free throw shooter, 85%. Boy, with all the driving that he has done today, you would think he'd have been there before that, but all of his points have come from the field until that one. He's now got 21.
He gets downhill. He looks more like Derrick Henry.
Made them both. Just over 5 minutes to go in regulation. Carr is bumped by Federico, and it's 2 free throws the rest of the way for the Demon Deacons.
Federico had to help on that little handoff and then get back down to Carr and just put that forearm shiver into him. Actually, this ball screen, and then he rolls to the basket. Couldn't get it right away, but Federico had to recover. Boy, in this game, there's been so much contact. That was the subway push.
Used a lot of the rim, but got it to go. An 80% free throw shooter as Federico comes out. Diaz-Graham back in. Wake again has gone a while without Efton Reed. He is sitting with 4 fouls. It's Carr and 4 guards out there for the Demon Deacons. Again, a 4-point game.
Jeff Capel going to keep going with Ish Leggett. Got the switch.
Out of bounds. Officials looking at one another. It stays with Pitt.
Well, initially, there was no call. The referees were looking at each other. Looked like Frederickson might have gotten a pinky on it, but that was it.
Hinson. Rebound, Carr.
It's starting to feel like whoever has the ball last is going to win.
Salas and Miller having a conversation. They both wanted the ball. Salas got it. Too much size, and Diaz-Graham has to give it up. Now he gets it back. Left hand, and he's fouled.
Strong drive. I thought Diaz-Graham might give him a little bit more space. He'd be able to pull up for that 3, but it was pretty well defended until the end when Diaz-Graham fouled him. Just caught him in the back of the head when he's going up.
So Salas to the line for two. All of this leading up to Selection Sunday, and it all starts at 6 Eastern with SportsCenter here on ESPN. A race of the guys looking at the men's field of 68 as the brackets are announced, and bracketology breakdowns of each region. And at 8, the women's field of 68 is revealed again with a complete breakdown immediately following. Salas 1 for 2, 3-point game. Low, baseline, reverse, no, tip, no. Leggett, yes!
What a rebound. Wake Forest allowed Lowe to refuse that ball screen, get to the rim. It was a challenge, but that's a big-time offensive rebound by one of the best guard rebounders in the country.
Fredrickson. Carr's got a guard on him in low. They don't get him the ball. They're trying. Fredrickson's wide open. Carr the rebound. Up and now in. And again, it's a 3-point game. High drama here in Washington in this big game for the Panthers and the Demon Deacons.
Open side screen and roll. Got the switch.
Diaz-Graham. Surrounded, just threw up a prayer.
We got hit in the face.
Yeah, he got poked in the eye, it looks like. Salas lost it. Here comes Carrington. Leggett. Tipped up and in by Hinson. It's back to 5.
Well, Guillermo Diaz-Graham got hit right in the face.
And is pleading his case to Tony Henderson, one of the officials.
That's not going to work. If they didn't see it then, they're not going to see it now.
A timeout on the floor with 2:48 to go as Pitt is managing to do enough, Jay, right now to hold off this comeback attempt.
What a huge play by Ishmael Leggett. Almost got the tip in, then outfought Andrew Carr for that ball. And then a fantastic play right here by Blake Hinson to follow that miss by Leggett.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. Pitt has certainly played with confidence the entire game, but Wake keeps on coming. Got it down to 3. It's at 5 right now with 2:49 to go in this all-important game. Joey Brackett says they're both on the bubble. Wake first 4 out, Pitt next 4 out. A huge game for both programs. North Carolina awaits the winner in the semifinals tomorrow night.
Wake Forest shooting 61% in this second half. Got the switch now. Leggett having to guard Andrew Carr inside.
There it is. And a foul.
There's Blake Hinson with that left arm raking across Carr, so he'll go to the free throw line for 2.
Well, if you're Wake, you're happy to score without the clock running, obviously, and you're the better free throw shooting team. Carr 4 for 5 today.
We have seen some gutsy individual performances in this game. Cam Hildreth for Wake Forest. He's been fantastic. 21 points, 5 of 7 from the free throw line, 7 of 13 overall.
Efton Reed back for the first time in a long time for Wake. Sat down with 4 fouls several minutes ago. And we'll see if immediately Pitt tries to get a switch and put him in a spot where he's got to defend a guard.
Yeah, I'd put it in the hands of Leggett and let him go to work. He's got 26 points in this game.
And here he goes. Got bumped by Carr. Will they count it? On the floor is the call.
Well, that's 2 he's had where just a extra little bit of continuation.
That's the right call.
Absolutely. Yeah. But impressive finishes on both of them.
Number 5, Ishmael Leggett.
Leggett, who's got 26 points already in this game. Fredrickson back in on offense because of his three-point shooting ability.
But Leggett has been far more than just a scorer in this game. He's got 7 rebounds and 5 steals. He's been everywhere.
Made them both.
Carrington taking Salas.
And a foul away from the ball on Leggett as Carr tried to post him up, and Carr going right back to the free throw line.
Carr's been really aggressive. Just set a screen there and roll down into the low post, but he's been aggressive posting up.
Diaz-Graham returns for Austin. The only player, actually neither of the two players who have 4 fouls in this game are on the floor at the moment. With all the fouls there have been, nobody on the court is in imminent danger as Carr makes them both.
Leggett being guarded by Boopy Miller.
They've had no answer for Leggett today. Turns the corner on Carr, kicks it to Carrington. Hinson, Diaz-Graham banks it home. What a big bucket.
And a really good job by Diaz-Graham to catch it and go up right away. No hesitation.
Salas surrounded. Has it taken away by Hinson.
Steve Forbes is upset. He thought that was arm there.
And Lowe and the Panthers can afford to be a little patient here on this trip. Another one for Leggett. What a game.
Boy, what looked like a foul on one end turns into an incredibly tough bucket by Ishmael Leggett on the other. He has been a man among men. Now watch this play by Hunter Salas going in. Watch him go up. That's a lot of contact there for no foul, going up with a shot. And then Leggett, awfully tough, going right into the chest of Andrew Carr, backing him up and still getting it to go. Well, you talk about a tough drive. Downhill, north-south, and then a little east-west into the chest.
11 for 18 from the floor, 28 points. His season high had been 22 earlier this year against Wake, and he has blown that number away here this afternoon.
And he's done everything. He's done it on the offensive end, getting into the lane, knocking down threes. He's got 5 steals in the game. He has rebounded, a terrific guard rebounder. There has been not one facet of this game that Ishmael Leggett has not excelled.
He has been a real nemesis for the Demon Deacons this season, and even more so here today. And he's got Pitt a minute and 21 seconds away from a date with Carolina in the semis tomorrow night. Look at the bench points, and a lot of that, it's all Leggett and Diaz-Graham, but Wake hasn't gotten a single point off the bench.
Bob Carrington still on Hunter Salas. And Carrington's done a really nice job. He does a great job of staying in front.
Fredrickson, way short. Pitt ball.
A lot of pressure on that shot. Pittsburgh has to be strong with the ball here. It's a spot throw in, and you have to expect Wake Forest is coming after it.
Diaz-Graham comes back to help out.
No need for Pittsburgh to be in a hurry here.
Boy, Lowe's got a good handle, doesn't he?
He's a fantastic ball handler.
And a foul on Frederickson. 2 free throws coming for Jalen Lowe.
Jalen Lowe's a good free throw shooter as well. 85% from the foul line for the freshman from Texas.
Here's some of the games he's had. 17 points, 6 assists, no turnovers against Duke. And twice in the last 2 weeks he's had at least 9 assists in a game. 9 against BC and 10 against Florida State. Boy, they had it down to 4, had it down to 3.
Too much Ishmael Leggett.
Yep. It's 10. Into Hildreth, who lays it in. Inside the final minute. Can they get it in?
And a move.
Jeff Capel was counting to 5 and called a timeout at 4.5.
Yeah, Ish Leggett was standing right under the basket. You can run the baseline, like move and get out of there.
And Hildreth appears to be
putting down the three-point line for NC State.
If you are not someone who typically watches a lot of ACC basketball, or you haven't seen NC State, I promise you, DJ Burns is worth the price of admission. He is a very enjoyable, talented player, and it seems, Jay, the game plan always revolves around him for one reason or another whenever you play State.
Well, he's an offensive lineman with Barishnikov's feet.
That's a great way to describe it. 52.5 to go. Pitt ball up by 8. Again, Diaz-Graham down to help out. The handoff to Lowe. And a foul.
Good job by Diaz-Graham to come back to the ball and make himself available as a receiver. He gets the ball into the hands of an excellent free throw shooter in Jalen Lowe. Diaz-Graham being guarded by Carr just came right up, and then Lowe calling for it. He wanted to be the guy that gets fouled.
So we've mentioned on a couple of occasions Wake is significantly better at free throws than Pitt, but, and you mentioned Lowe, if you're Jeff Capel, if you get the right guys on the free throw line, you're fine. Lowe's 85%, Leggett's 85%, Carrington's 79%. And those are the 3 guys who figure to be handling the ball down the stretch. 1 of 2.
No fouls, no threes for Pittsburgh.
Whoopi Miller stripped away by Carrington.
Boy, the hands of Pittsburgh. Carrington, Leggett, Lowe. And Pittsburgh has done a great job here, and they answered the bell when Wake Forest made it a 1-possession game. Or was it a 2-possession game? Was it 2?
I think it was 1 briefly.
It was 1.
I think it was a 1.5 possession game. Leggett at the line again. Pitt fans enjoying this.
And they should. They watched a gritty performance worthy of the city of Pittsburgh.
Pitt they came into this league 10 years ago. Obviously had a ton of success in the Big East. We all remember that. Their only trip to the semis since they've come to the ACC was their first year in the ACC in 2014. They are on their way. Oh boy, don't need this at this stage of this game. If you're wondering, Pitt and Carolina met once during the regular season way back on January the 2nd. At Pitt, Carolina won by 13. And if you didn't see the Carolina game earlier today, boy, did they play well against Florida State.
Carolina was awesome. And it wasn't just that they played well. They played really well. It was how hard they played together. And that was, I think you used the term clinic. It was just spectacular.
Both teams battling right down to the final whistle here today. It is obviously going to be a very, very long 72 hours for fans of Wake Forest basketball. Pitt fans probably cannot wait for tomorrow night. Fans and players alike will have to sweat it out for the next 3 days for Wake. You know, how about 2 freshmen in the backcourt too, and Carrington and Lowe not playing like freshmen?
You know, it's funny. I was just thinking that these guys don't project as freshmen, and that's been true of Carrington all year long.
Timeout, Wake Forest.
Steve Forbes will use a timeout with 20.4 to go.
Is this a tournament team?
Yeah.
And then if you have to go to the paper, I get it. But, you know, honestly felt the same way about Clemson last year. The committee didn't.
Right.
But this is a tournament team. There's no question in my mind.
And I felt that way about Wake about 3 weeks ago, and then they had that 3-game losing streak, and obviously that kind of changes your mind a little bit. But I'm with you. You can't quantify eye test, but boy, when you watch Pitt, they feel like one of the best 36 at-large teams.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not saying the eye test is the only thing you use, but I don't think you ignore the eye test either. I mean, you can't just go on paper on this thing. Well, I guess if you're voting, you do whatever you want.
Carr misses the 3, and that is going to do it. Wake gave him a push in the second half, but Pitt holds Wake off, and they win by a dozen to enhance their tournament resume and to advance to the semifinals against the top seed in the conference, the North Carolina Tar Heels. We are looking forward to that one, the first of 2 semis that we'll have for you tomorrow night here on ESPN.